You better bet your bottom dollar Bitcoin's here to stay.
Sean, good afternoon.
Ray, it's a pleasure. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good. What have you been up to?
This morning had an incredible podcast with Renee, Hair by Renee, and then was on the Sat Signal this morning doing that with the panel with the boys, Adam Hudson, Will Bisher, and then just got off a real epic podcast with Dale Warburton as well, talking about inheritance planning. So back to back today, but certainly living the dream.
Busy.
Wouldn't want it any other way.
What's Renee's last name?
Katina.
I think that. Did you do another podcast with another hairdresser? It was an American girl, and she also has another podcast with a husband, and she does
that's Stacey Nova. Yeah,
that's
the Bitcoin Nova podcast.
Yeah. So you've gone on a whole tangent of now doing Bitcoin hairdressers.
The funny story, the last time I got my hair cut was by a subscriber, Stephen in Victoria. And he cut my hair, and we sat down. We did a podcast while he was cutting my hair. Really, really cool guy. He had a really nice Jag. We went for a drive after that, ripping around the streets. But it's been a theme. But at least with this lady Renee, just personal brand, building the business, using AI, Bitcoiner based as. Those photos of everyone's like, this is my business partner, Anthony Albanese. So she had a photo where he's like pulling the $50 bills out of her pocket. It got picked up all by mainstream news, everything, and it's just on repeat sort of for the last 2 weeks going there. So that's how I sort of got in contact with her, and she's been a subscriber for ages, but huge signal. Really incredible conversations, just everyday people building. And I guess that's what the abundance of Bitcoin leads you to, is creating something bigger and better for humanity.
Yeah. Well, that's I guess that's the aim of all people, and then you become parents, and then you want more for your child, your offspring, your family than you had yourself, and then that constant progression, and then abundance. So you hold fiat currency, and it's just like sand through your fingertips. Bitcoin is I think it's becoming more mainstream and more available. And what you're doing and your multiple businesses, I think it's fantastic. Do you aim to focus more on a beginner, or you're trying to hit what levels are you trying to hit?
Oh, yeah, I guess with the podcast in particular, I just want the everyday common, Aussie in particular, to understand that there is a very simple way to be able to opt out of the broken fiat slavery system, and that is by holding Bitcoin self-custody. So that's definitely the number one target. And then when we go into like the Satoshi mastermind and stuff, I am talking to people that have already got Bitcoin. They want to integrate AI into their businesses, buy back their time, etc. Get very clear with the habit stat, and then take it to a next level. But ultimately, I want the common person to be able to win, mate. It's, I've gone through hell and back in my own life, and it's from putting in the proof of work and very precise with what is Bitcoin. How do I integrate that? What's proof of work look like in my own life that's going to pull me out of these deep, dark times? And I want to be able to share that. And people may or may not resonate with me, but hopefully it does reach one or two people. And they keep hearing me say, read the books or eat the bugs. And they're like, fucking, what's this guy going on about? All right, I'll just read the fucking book, the big print. And then happy days, because we can't actually orange pill anyone else. We can just, it's like leading a horse to water. You can give them a little bit of salt in their tongue. You can sort of incentivize them a little bit to drink the water, but ultimately they need to drink the water. So I guess that's the mission. It's changed my own life remarkably, but it's not like this get rich quick scheme. It's not magic internet money in the way mainstream media says it is magic, what it does in your own life. But yeah, for the commoner, Marty Bent, truth for the commoner, like I really like that ethos, and that's who I'm trying to reach.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job. And I get the impression if your wife asked you not to talk about Bitcoin, That'd be a difficult challenge.
Maybe that's why the podcast is still going all these years later.
There's an Aussie guy who I really like, Hucho. So his whole thing is hydroponics and planting and so on. And of course, you put your heart on your sleeve. You put the love into it. So part of this channel, Above the Clouds, one of the tenets is science. So you go deep into the science portion of it, and he does hydroponics. So then you've got all the chemicals and so on. And his relationship broke down, and it's on YouTube. And then he starts saying, so he goes down a bit of a dark hole, a big stop on the videos, and then he brings it back, and then you kind of get this real dark, Aussie humor. And he was 3D printing bits for his hydroponic stuff, and he was giving it out. He was doing the Patreon, building his business. And then people would talk about, how do you get your 3D printers? How many? And he said something along the lines of, in my experience, once you get to 6 3D printers, that's marriage ending, and you don't go more. And he was worried about like the section he was on. He had all his setup, his cameras, his tripods, his audio, and then relationship fell apart. But his passion and carried on. But he's really good. What other stuff outside of Bitcoin do you? Obviously, you got we've got a Bitcoin pilot. So that's a whole thing, and then your new endeavor, GDay Freedom. That's awesome. Do you mind just talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess like the driving light, the guiding dream. I had a really cool upbringing till I was about 14 years old. A whole lot of trauma, abuse, and stuff happened in my life, but I just had this dream that, Sean, one day you'll be free. You'll be a millionaire, and you'll have your own aeroplane, and like you'll get through it. So I was always that was the dream and the goal. And I've held this, for the last 20 years, got in a position about 5 years ago where I probably could have acted on that dream, but I realized that I still didn't have the skills and the success that I felt like I needed to. So I kept going, head down, bum up, and got there. And then last week, I just brought my aeroplane back on a ferry flight with my chief flight instructor. So I bought this incredible little aeroplane, Vans RV6, IFR capable, 300 plus Ks an hour, aerobatic, so I can fly in the clouds. It's really fast, little 2-seater. You can do all the, the tricks and the rolls and everything. Like dream aeroplane, definitely not a cheap hobby. But I guess that's like the latest thing, but it's just having like the eye on the prize and then fulfilling it. And now I've got this thing. It's this like it's a material thing. Like it's a airplane. It's like a very fancy car, I guess. But like putting that aside, I kept that promise to that young man inside me through fucking hell. There's amazing parts and stuff, but those deep dark nights to the soul, I'd just be like, fucking one day, Sean, one day you'll get there, and then for that to be able to play out and be tangible. If the airplane disappeared tomorrow, like I know that I've done that and I kept that promise for those 20 years and fulfilled that dream. But fingers crossed, we don't ride off the airplane when I start learning to fly it legally tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow morning's endeavor, hopefully by the end of the week or next week. I've got my tailwheel endorsement. But I got the aeroplane because I live remotely in Queensland here in Australia. It's like 9-11 hours drive plus to be able to get anywhere. Like we're just so isolated, where it's an hour and a half flight. So I'll be able to go, say Dale lives about an hour and a half flight away. I can leave here 6 in the morning, 7:30. He can meet me at the airport. We can go up for a flight. We can shoot some content, get that out there. Then we can sit down for a proper podcast, and then I can be home, early afternoon if I wanted to, or I can fly at night in it as well, etc. But the GDay Freedom, I understand not every Bitcoiner is into aviation or aeroplanes or anything like that. So the aeroplane is named Spirit of Satoshi. It will feature on the main channel GDay Bitcoin often enough when it relates to Bitcoin. But say I'm leaving here and I'm going to see Dale. once Dale's in the aeroplane, then it will go on the GDay Bitcoin podcast. But me just traveling by myself with the setup or the IFR training or the tail wheel or the maintenance and just like the aircraft ownership and stuff doesn't really make much sense to have that on the main GDay Bitcoin channel. So I've created another channel called GDay Freedom. That'll sort of be like behind the scenes and just that journey of aircraft ownership and stuff. And hopefully through that, because the airplane will be branded GDay Bitcoin and it'll have Spirit of Satoshi on there, hopefully we can start to expand and bring like a new audience into Bitcoin. You know, certainly it's not a cheap hobby. Like you look at the airplane, it's going to cost you $1,000 like every time you fricking blink with things. But like those people have money, for example, if they're coming in and they're also connected, like the flying community, the flying events and stuff like that. If you can hit one of those nodes and you can get them excited about Bitcoin just through flying content, for example, it's going to open up more possibilities in their own life. Airplane ownership becomes cheaper the longer you save in Bitcoin, etc. Say these things and hopefully bring in another target demographic towards Bitcoin. And then for people that aren't interested full stop about it, then, you know, that symbol of freedom that you do get from flying and being able to sort of get anywhere whenever you want, you know, do whatever you want.
It is a good, well, great name for a plane. And yeah, the symbolism there isn't lost on me. You're above the cloud. Actually, are you able to go above clouds? Have you got the ticket for that? Does it work on the cloud base?
So at the moment, I'm VFR rated, which is visual flight rules. I am doing my IFR flight rules, which is instrument flight rules. So at the moment, I need to stay clear of cloud. Basically, I can't fly through them. I can fly around them, or I can sit underneath them, or if there's a gap, I can fly up and then I can sit on top, but I can't fly through the clouds legally at the moment. The aeroplane, the reason I got and the reason I pulled the trigger straight away is it's fully IFR capable. So it means that I can. It's got all the bells and whistles, Garmin avionics, etc., GPS. So I can do that. I think it was like 2 months ago, maybe 2.5 months ago, I sat for the book test, for the IFR book test. And I spent 3 months studying for it, head down, bum up. And you need 70% to pass. I went in there, practice test the 2 weekends before, got 80%, 85%, 90, 97% or 97.5%. So I went in there so freaking confident, hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, studying for this test. And then did the test and I got 50%. I was like, fuck, you know, it's just like full panic mode. I'm like, no, that can't be right. So I like booked it straight away again that day, like already stressed out and stuff. And then I got like 55% or 57% or whatever. I was like, fuck. All right, self-study didn't work. That didn't work. So I've only got 2 practical flights left before the flight test, but there's no point doing those 2 flights and then the flight test. I can't do the flight test until I've passed the book test. So I sit down with Dylan, an online ground school instructor, every week. We're going through it. I've got, you know, a pile of books like this big that you need to go through and read and stuff. So just slowing it down a little bit and having somebody outside help to be able to teach me, because it just didn't work for myself. But by the end of the year, I'll be able to fly in clouds and stuff. Yeah,
that'll be awesome. And
it's so cool.
And you get the Vegemite prize of not mentioning chemtrail. You didn't mention chemtrails.
We dude, talking about that, we've had them. Who knows what they're doing, why they're doing it. I've had conversations with Daniel Baden, etc. But they certainly happen often enough, and people like, you know, conspiracy, tinfoil hat, etc. In certain states in the US, they fucking ban them. If it was make-believe, then they wouldn't be able to ban them. Like, this shit is actually fucking happening. Why? I don't know. Does it look pretty? Sometimes it looks absolutely incredibly pretty. But what's the purpose of doing it? No idea. Do I point it out? yes. And people are like, oh, it's a normal contrail. I'm like, nah, usually a contrail will just dissipate after a little while. These things spread out and they link in a grid and stuff. And then you're overcast for the next couple of days. And maybe there's some big floods or whatever a couple of days after that. I don't know why they're doing it. I just simply have been looking at the sky my entire fucking life, looking at that. I'm like, no, the clouds are a little bit different.
It is. Is it Saudi or in the Middle East? They do chemically stimulate clouds and rainfall. So it is. There is proof of concept, but yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I was being a bit cheeky. I knew I'd get. I was running the law past the trout, and you took it. The plane, does it take A1?
Yeah, avgas, yeah. A1 jet fuel.
I took a flight recently. It was a commercial, and the pilot announced that I had if I was listening to a GDay Bitcoin podcast. So, but Mrs. Mia's elbowed me, and she went, "Oh, that's odd." So I said, what's happened? And the pilot made an announcement that the plane is going to sound differently, and he was going to give it a few revs for takeoff. And I was like, oh, okay, but because they're starting to use more and more recycled oil and recycling fuel. So the A1 mix, without adapting the engine too much, I don't know what the ratio is, 80-20 or yeah, but they are mixing it with this Iran scam that's going on, and a few things. But so if you get an A1 in there, as you said, expensive hobby, but it's a lifelong passion, I think. And you get in there. I was following your journey. I followed your what I really liked, being a tech nerd, the MDF setup display that you done. So you had your rig, you set it all up. You done the proof of work, proof of concept, and then just getting the hours in training. So following the journey was really inspiring.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And just for a disclaimer, the vans, it takes avgas, not Jet A1, but they are diluting it Jet A1 with biofuel or fucking whatever nonsense they're coming up with. But this, I think, just minimum 100 octane. But yeah, I've got that flight simulator sitting just there. I was going to pull it out yesterday, Ray, but it's got a column, and the vans has a joystick, and I've got the seat and the rudder pedals there because I start the tail wheel training tomorrow. I didn't want to set it up there and learn bad habits. I'd just rather do it in real life. But for like the IFR and the tests and everything like that, to build something as possible. Like, our brain can't really tell the difference between if we're actually doing something or we're imagining it hyper realistically. So the switch is in the same place, the throttle quadrant's in the same place. It's got a touch screen where I can have the exact same avionics that I have when I was like in the Sierra doing the IFR. I can bring that up. It's got a physical like sim GPS, a Garmin 430 GPS and stuff. So you got all the buttonology and everything like that. But you just touch it, and then you've got like a physical dial and stuff to be able to change all these things. With anything, like whether it's flying or basketball or whatever anyone wants to do, if you can sit there like a deep meditation, you go internally and like vividly imagine it, you can get just so far ahead of, it's like sort of $500 an hour to go flying, whereas I can just plug that in. It's free. It's the cost of electricity. So you can really like upgrade your learning journey with whatever. I think that's a cool takeaway for whatever it is that people want to do out there. Try make it as realistic and get through as many reps as possible, because that is repetition is the mother of all learning.
Yeah, the muscle memory, you can't beat it. It is, you do have to pay an expert to do things in the end. It may resonate with you.
Pay to play, baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you buy a ticket, you get the entrance, but yes, you're probably fiercely independent like I am, and I
think a lot of Bitcoiners are.
Yeah, it is in the DNA, and that's why a lot of people have problems trying to orange pill, because just some people just won't get it. You know, I think Bitcoiners think kind of like a politician, where if you get, oh, with this question there's this answer, this question this answer, so you have a shotgun of answers ready, and whatever comes at me, this is the, like, you know, Elbow's got his, he only says the same 5 things. You pull a string and he says one of these 5 things just over and over again. And I think, yeah, some Bitcoiners kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit, where they think it's like a game of attrition, or, you know, it's UFC. You can just ground someone. You can just get your get your elbow into them and just pummel them and cut the eyebrow, make them bleed, and then eventually
fucking understand.
You will buy buy $50 now, and then I'm just gonna keep on you until you. And it just doesn't work. People will get there. I really dislike that. You know, you get the price that you deserve. I don't think that's very kind. And the system's
not, but it's true. Unfortunately, it's true.
It is. I just don't like the framing of it. It's kind of like a highfalutin one-upmanship.
It's a kick in the teeth.
Yeah, I don't like it. I would rather lead with the sweet carrot than with the nasty shitty stick. Yeah. So and some people just won't get it. You'll have the you know, your bell curve graph. You'll always have your laggards. And just some people will never get it. Yeah. So unless you're President Trump and you can do a run your own scheme. So yeah. the higher up the pole you go, the greasier it gets. But I think we can do better.
Yeah, absolutely we can. And this is just as bad as saying you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve.
Sorry about that intermission. Are you on Starlink?
Yeah, I am on Starlink. It's just the power just tripped just then. My wife has the dryer going on the same circuit. We've got the hot tub, and because it's Wednesday, there's an oil heater, and it looks like the kettle just got pushed, so everything just went whoosh. It was like, uh-oh, ran upstairs, but it's all good.
Do Aussies call the kettle a jug?
Just call the kettle a kettle. Call the kettle black.
Yeah, I think it's a Kiwi thing. Yeah, it's a jug. So it's same.
Yeah, same. Just talking about Kiwi thing. In Australia, there's our government's full commo at the moment, full communist, and they're bringing out these capital gains taxes, where we already pay extraordinary amount of capital gains tax. But in New Zealand, my belief, Ray, is that you don't have capital gains tax. But when you sell an asset, how does it work? Do you just get taxed at your marginal tax rate?
Grok will tell you. I'm not entirely sure. That there have been some major changes recently with the tax department. So I wouldn't be. For financial advice, I'd say buy Bitcoin.
And don't sell it ever, especially not at the minute.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if I like that wording from Bitcoin either. And old Mickey Saylor, old Blue Eyes, he's changed his tune with the never sell your Bitcoin to sell your Bitcoin. And well, this week Strategy sold 30 million, and then they bought 30 million back. So
yeah, but they're playing fiat games.
Yeah, that doesn't sit right with me. This is just a conversation of all my all my irritants. Yeah.
What really? Tell us, Ray, what really grinds your gears when it comes to Bitcoin?
I'm liking this night radio. There was an old movie with Clint Eastwood, Play Misty for Me, and just within the microphone, then it just slow tones of night radio, 2 a.m. That could be the next business. GDay, GDay tunes, Sean Clarke.
You do
what
not
else?
want to hear my singing. My wife is super, super, super talented, like incredible. Got offered a record label when she was in her mid-20s, etc. Just for fun. We'll go down, once a month or whatever and play at the local cafe and do a 3-hour set, etc. Really
Oh,
incredible,
fantastic.
like real ballsy, bluesy type of thing. And for like 10 years or longer, I cut out all music out of my life. I listened to 10 songs because I didn't want to be programmed, etc. Hardcore muse though. And I'm just like, oh, that's fucking bubblegum. I'm not really learning anything from it. But then she's like, oh, try singing stuff. And she's like, well, yeah, that's bad. There's no tonality. There's no nothing. I can't keep a beat or anything. So that's how it works out with me.
Well, I mean, that's why she's your better three quarters, and you're just you fill up the remainder. I'm in the same boat. But although today, Mrs. Mears, she said, "Oh, I've heard stuff in the roof, scuttling around." Right, okay. Was it a small scratch or a big scratch? And she said, "No, it's a big scratch." It's all right, okay. Are you going to go up there and have a look? And she's like, "I'm not going." Okay, so I'll go up there. So there's rats. I'm chasing rats now in the roof that have got up there. So it's not easy being a man, Sean. It's not easy. No. So you can. Yeah,
I wouldn't fucking trade it though. Menopause, just I don't know. Women really get the short end of the straw when it comes to the body, and just life. My wholehearted respect for every lady out there. The things they need to go through from childhood, with periods and all of it. Fuck all of that. They're certainly the toughest species, in my opinion. I'm happy to jump in there and chase rats.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you crawl underneath your house, and you've got all crazy spiders and snakes, and all everything wants to sting you and kill you over there. So, but no, I agree with you. If you had the choice, you would pick. You'd pick what you've got, I think.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. I mean, with $5 wrench tax. Yeah, I've got my guns, I've got my ammo. What's better than that is dogs. Got the dogs, and then you've got me. But it's Mrs. Mears you want to really look at. She does the CrossFit and the working out, and she'll have you. She'll have you. So
yeah.
But I missed. You were just about to crescendo into a final point when the internet cut off. So I don't know if you can pick that up.
Do you know what we were talking about back then?
Whatever it was pure alpha. It was
get Bitcoin and sell custody. I don't know, right? That's 6 minutes ago, and a run up the stairs and switching everything off. It
you
can't help you.
Well, you had a problem, you identified it, you solved it. So that's you used the man card, you done it, you got the power back on. That's what it's all about, and kind of the Bitcoin way of keep trudging along. How are you finding the bear market?
Like what bear market? We're sort of talking about this on Unemployable on the Sat Signal this morning. People are undoubtedly concerned that Bitcoin's down 36% and everything else is pumping. AI stocks, everything is pumping, and Bitcoin hasn't really done anything. Like that's how other people are thinking. I'd look at the fear and greed index yesterday. I think it was like 26 or 36% or whatever it was. It was in fear. And I'm like, there's cheap sats, just buy, stack, and chill. But I've been here and seen so many times. Like I got into Bitcoin in 2019 and orange pilled myself pretty early. Within 2 weeks, understood Bitcoin was the money. Fucked around with crypto for far too long, made some gains, but kept putting that into Bitcoin. But then when we hit COVID 2020, Bitcoin was at about $30,000 Australian. And then it fell down to like 6,500 or whatever. And I was like, that was all my investing was all in Bitcoin at that stage. And I was like, oh my God, like what the fuck have I done? And then I just went even harder into the books, the podcast, the Reddit, the Medium, etc., Bitcoin X, and just start consuming. You start to see that this has played out so many times before, and history doesn't always repeat, but often it rhymes. And then once you get down to the true nature, and as Jeff Booth says, as long as Bitcoin stays decentralized and secure, it's all good. They're always going to print more money. It's unconfiscatable. It's a bearer asset. It's not subject to any nation dictating the rules. Iran through the Strait of Hormuz, accepting only Bitcoin for safe passage through. Why? Stablecoins, banks can all be seized. They have been seized. Scott Bessent, we were saying last week they seized $1 billion of stablecoins from Iran. You're like, okay, is Bitcoin still decentralized and secure? Yes. Is it down a little bit? Yes. Do I get more sats per dollar? Yes. Do I still want to stack more Bitcoin? Yes. Like what's the problem? It's just pure opportunity with it. So I guess I don't understand so much, simply because for the last 6 years I've just brainwashed myself. Bitcoin's been the first word every single day for the last 6.5 years that I've woken up and seen, whether it's on my hat, it's sitting in the hallway, so it's the first word I read, or a book on the coffee table, or whatever, because wherever the mind focuses on, energy flows. So I was like, okay, I just wanted to get rich quick. I just wanted to make $1 million, went down that path, found Bitcoin, realized that, and I was just like, oh, this is the thing. So just staying focused, not getting distracted with the AI or whatever other shit is going on. Like for the investing side of things, you use AI, it's the greatest tool ever. But to chase after those pumps and those gains, no, I'm here for the separation of money from state. So if it's cheaper and the world hasn't woken up to how good Bitcoin is, okay, that's okay. I'm still going to talk about it, and I'm here to let people know that they need to read the books, or I encourage them to read the books. Nobody needs to do shit, but they're probably not going to grok Bitcoin and understand or hold through these drawdowns unless they put in the proof of work. And then just, I'll just do me. It's worked out over the last 6 and a bit years. We've had plenty of ups and downs. So what? $69,400 down to $16,400, and then back up to $126,000 and a bit. And we're down at 70-odd thousand today. Who gives a fuck? The 21 million, it's limited, it's scarce. If you hold it properly, nobody can fuck with it. Nobody can stop it. With everything going on in the world, like, what's the answer? Just more Bitcoin, or don't spend the Bitcoin at this stage.
Boom! Put on a t-shirt. Might have to condense it just to fit it on.
Yeah.
But no, that's the same. I don't actually feel anything. I'm at the point where I only get dopamine when the price drops. That's when I get excited, and that was a good thing with Mrs. Me, is she just said one thing to me, which was, don't fuck this up. And I said, I want you to learn about this. I want you to. She's like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Just don't. I trust you as far as I can. Don't fuck this up. So that's my instruction. And there's been points where I've had to move money around and savings, and there's DCA, but also a kind of sniper's approach of just trying to grab a few more sats, which is that scratch itch challenge, if you like, a bit of a man thing. You think you can break the system, and you're smarter than the next guy, so you can get a few more sats with your dollar. So it's a dog eat dog. Do what you can, but I think that's awesome. Really, really positive. And for me, when I've bought, and she said, well, why are you doing it now? It's gone down, and I've explained that's why you get. And she has had an like aha moment. That makes sense. Don't you want it to go up? And you've done that classic, bought the high. People panic. They sell. They haven't done the work. They haven't read Larry's book. And I don't feel anything. The price can go to 60, and I would only get more excited.
Yeah.
The frequency doesn't drop. But if you look to 2015 or 2016 with the melting fiat, we've had pretty much an 80% drop. So I think this is one of the mistakes people make, is they measure things using dollars, and it's the wrong. Professional traders don't do that. Everything's a pair trade, and at the end of the day, they have to break neutral. So they dip in and out of assets, or they will hedge against. They'll have a long position, they'll have a hedge against it. So yeah, these guys have to break or finish par, and you are the exit liquidity. So with these games, it may be a bit of a too far for you, but do you know of anyone with strategy who are what would be the word, paying people, sponsoring people to promote their product, influencers and so on?
No, just I guess what you see on X is it Jeff, starts with W, last name Walton, maybe.
Oh yeah, Jeff Walt. Yeah.
So I have a feeling he probably gets paid as a sponsorship or a partnership or something. But no, I sort of stay very clear. My lane's like Bitcoin and self-custody, and do what Saylor's doing. He's using other people's money to be able to control as much Bitcoin as fucking possible. I want to do what Saylor's doing. I don't want to fucking buy the IOU or the paper or anything like that. And that's about as close as I get. Anil Patel wrote an incredible book, the Treasury of Michael Saylor. Incredible book, but that's about as close to the interest of. I want to call them shitcoins on Bitcoin. That's not really fair because they are helping. I think it's like a Trojan horse on the fiat system long term, but it's not Bitcoin and self-custody. It's not freedom money.
Yeah. I was just thinking of the other true blue bugger, James Check. I think he caught a bit of flack for saying Ponzi adjacent, which is kind of, I think you're all over the same points of it's fiat games, and really just have the Bitcoin. But then there's that point, you do need dry powder. You do need, if Bitcoin drops 10K, you want to be in a position to buy. You've still got to have the power on and have $1 noodles in the fridge to eat. But it's a balance of living your life, but then also having the future. You're buying your future and your family's future. Yeah. So I think it's awesome. I'll just switch quickly to cigars. Are you gonna have cigars on GDay Freedom?
Maybe. I'm certainly trying to cut down on the nicotine, not because I think it's bad or anything like that. I don't. But probably just have a little bit less, maybe once a month or something like that, instead of 1, 2, 3 times a week, which has sort of been the status quo at the moment. I fucking love them. I really, really, really enjoy having a good cigar, but at least give myself a little bit of a break for a little while. We'll see how that works out. But they're fucking good. They are great.
It is a meditation thing, and it's just tobacco. You may be interested to find there's no medical study that links cigars to cancer, because that's the thing I get from my family is cancer. And
I get the same shit, and I say all the same things as well, and it's nootropic, and you're like, but even so, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't go out at night, I don't party, I wake up early, I go to the gym, I align with the sun, I do my qigong. If I want to have one vice or nicotine and caffeine, it's fucking my body, my choice. Like, fuck off. I actually don't give a fuck. But do I want to just stop for myself for a little bit? Absolutely.
Yeah, I personally I use it as a reward or a treat. So it could be, apart from, well, I mean, we're in that situation with the tax thing. I have that habit of looking what the stick is in US dollars, and it's It's awful. A lot of the guys I work with are American, so that, you know, they get a jar of cigars, and yeah, we get penalized for it. But it's what's the task for the rest of the week, and then I'll let you go.
So tomorrow start my tail wheel, and tomorrow morning actually I've got Dr. Jack Cruz coming on the show, which I'm super excited about. Somebody that's been on the list for a very long time. As soon as I finish that, I'll finish at 9 a.m. Get in the car. My flight instructor is going to fly my aeroplane to an airfield that's a bit closer, so it's only about a 25-minute drive instead of the 45 minutes. And then we'll do touch and goes for 2 or 3 hours. I'll put the new battery in it, and then come back, and then back-to-back meetings sort of for the afternoon. And then Wednesday, more podcasts, more meetings, whatever's in my calendar. That's sort of as far as I've looked. I just wake up and I just fall through the day. My day's very structured. If it's in my calendar, that's why I was even saying to you, like, fucking make sure you send me a thing, because if it's not there, it just won't get done, because I'm not going to hold it in my thoughts. I've got enough going on. But that's really that's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow, is the tail wheel train. It should be, it will be fucking incredible. A whole lot of fun, you know. And my goal is hopefully, you know, I can find a few more times this week that align. You know, we're trying to get my calendar, which is hectic, to align with his calendar, which is hectic as well. But if we can get that done over the next 1 to 2 weeks, and then I can start these adventures down south to get people. So that's sort of all consuming at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, that's you're living your dream. It's that's really inspiring, Sean. I've got to sell myself to the man. I'm in work. I'll be doing my 60 hours a week. I think a lot of people, you know, they just count the hours worked, whereas I count the hours it takes me to wash my stuff and commute, and the brain, all the brain power you're putting towards. I'll give them 100%, but afterwards I give myself a hard time, because that's power that I didn't put into Bitcoin and reading and yeah, just thinking.
Yeah, what I really love though, Ray, is like you're doing all that. You know, you're putting in the time, the 9 to 5, etc. But then you're still building your 5 to 9 on the side, and you're finding other time to be able to sit down and do these podcasts and to be able to build your personal brand. And hopefully you're leveraging AI to do a lot of the back end work, so that you can just show up, you're present, and then you can do these things. Because like I went through that as well. It's just like a period of stacking skills and confidence and everything like that. And then, you know, I guess like a certain amount of wealth. And then you're like, all right, like I've got the skills. Now I can take a chance. I can take a risk or whatever. And we can just give this a really good shot. But if you're like, oh, I've saved a little bit of Bitcoin, but you haven't stacked any skills in the process, then you're just going to spend down. You're going to draw down that Bitcoin. And it's going to be a lot harder. So like I could have gotten this airplane 5 years ago, but I didn't have the skills to keep being able to top up my Bitcoin. So I stayed in a bullshit job. I kept stacking, you know, and I kept stacking all the skills and everything like that. And I didn't go out and buy the airplane, even though like I'd been thinking about it up until that stage every day for the last 15 years up until then. But I was like, yeah, like I'm okay, but I hadn't grown enough. I wasn't the person that I needed to be able to sort of go to the next level. And so just head down, bum up, and it's like sacrifice, and it was years and years and years and years of usually like 4 hours sleep at night. And I'm not saying that's healthy. It was like 4 years of that. And arguments, getting up early and just finding like every single moment possibly to be able to stack more skills, get 1% better, the Kaizen effect. And that needs to be done. Whereas like so many people, they win the lotto or whatever it is. And instead of like winning the lotto and then learning how to invest and staying at your bullshit job and learning those skills so that you can invest and make it even bigger, they just start spending the money without having any skills to accumulate it. They're like, oh, I want to grow this, and you know, I'm going to buy a couple of real estate houses or whatever, but maybe they're buying in the wrong area, or maybe they're like, oh, I'm going to put this into Bitcoin, but they haven't put in the proof of work of reading the books or whatever it is. And then you get a drawdown, they sell it, and then they lose all the money and things like that. So I guess my message for anyone out there is like embrace it. It's all part of our journey going through the shit, the bullshit job, etc. But like do what Ray is doing here is he's stacking the skills, he's showing up, he's getting the information out there, he's becoming 1% better each and every single time. And that's how we get to a better place. So otherwise it's just, they're saying like burn the boats. You burn the boats if you've got an army behind you, if you've got that skill of knowledge behind you. But if you don't, actually just stay in the bullshit job or whatever, have that safety net, because it doesn't create all this pressure. And if you've got a offer or something that's life-changing, but you need to sell it, people are going to know you're desperate, and that energy comes across and they're not going to buy even though it's life-changing. Whereas if you got the job and you're like sitting back and you're like, I've created this amazing thing, take it or leave it. It's not going to not put food on my table. It's a hell of a lot easier. And I don't know, too many people watch all this Instagram shit and everything like that. If you want toys or whatever, I don't know what billionaire said it, but like buy them when you can afford to pay for them like 20 times over in cash. Like whether it's 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 40 times, whatever, choose a number that it is where it's like a little thing, not where it's going to be everything. And just, it'll take longer than expected, but when you look back, you're like, oh, that was a worthwhile trip, and it happened pretty bloody quick.
Yeah. The system is against people, from the schooling system to the education system. But what I think I made just a final point. I'll say Jerome Powell came in as the Fed in 2018. And the debt in the US was, I'll round it up to 20 trillion. So it's only 20 trillion. And he's just left the position now. So 2026, and it's 40 trillion. He's doubled the debt. There's no way that's going to be fiat games being played. And I can't see any other outlet. So yeah, you can buy some shiny rocks. But other than Bitcoin, and you've done the proof of work and I've done the proof of work, whether Bitcoin's going to be still the king in 50 years, who knows? It may not be, but I think from what we've got, I done the gripes, but one of the nice things I like, that Bitcoin life raft. The old orange life raft, and I think regular, just buy $50 and then study it, and then GDay Bitcoin, and start the journey. But myself, I'm at traffic lights. It's on red, so I stop, and I'll just be thinking about the mempool, or linking how I can run my wallet through my node for privacy, independence, security. And you can Bitcoin anyway. I walk the dog, and I'm working on Bitcoin. So that's awesome hobby. And then if we get a samurai sword and cut you in half, I'm sure there's some Bitcoin inside of you. It's in your blood, in your vessels. Yeah. But no, I appreciate your time. I'd love to have a cigar with you, so we can do that. Talk about freedom. And enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks a lot, Sean.
Thank you very much. What a pleasure. Cheers, Ray.
You better bet your bottom dollar Bitcoin's here to stay.